Hello and welcome back to Left-Handed Crochet Lady. Okay, so today all you're going to need is a crochet hook and any skein of yarn. Today I'm using the Wool Ease Lion brand. Love this brand. It's very, very soft and it's in the color Black Noir. And then the hook recommendation size is a 6mm, so I'll be using a 6mm hook today. And these hooks are my favorite to use, especially for smaller projects because they help with your hands and they're very ergonomic. And I really like the movement and they're squishy and they don't feel like the metal ones. So that's all you'll need today. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do the magic ring and work your ends into the magic ring, as well as how to make a circle in a different way. It's up to you. It's your preference of how you would like to do it, and how to work in that tail into your work when you're working in the rounds for a project. So the first one I'm going to show you is the slip stitch round. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna make a slip knot to start. And the tail on this one doesn't need to be super long or anything because you're working in the rounds, which you'll see here in a minute what that means if you don't know. And then you just put your loop on the hook. And then for this one, I'm gonna have you chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I know that black can be a little tricky to actually see all of the colors, which is why I chose that color today. And hopefully you can see it a little bit better in the video because of the lighting, but this is just helpful because these are things that people run into as issues. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find that first chain, right? So find the first shell that you chained on, and you're going to do a slip stitch. So you're going to insert your hook. You're gonna pull through all the way. And you're gonna close that circle. So now you have this circle. I had to kind of untangle myself because I got a little tangled. You're gonna have this circle in the middle and you'll have this little other one hanging down, and that's what you do not want to work into, is that little gap that you see. Okay, so you have the tail right here. What you're gonna do is I'm gonna have you chain 3, and we're gonna work a double crochet into the middle of that ring. 2, 3. And then what I like to do is kind of hold the tail with my thumb so I can kind of track where it is and keep kind of pulling it out until it's completely covered. So we're going to pop 15 double crochets into this circle. And as you're doing that, you can kind of weave your end into the work. Another double crochet, so yarn over, insert into that hole. See, the hole will get bigger too as you continue to work chains into it. Pull up 3 loops, pull through those middle 2. You have 2 loops on your hook, pull through. And as you can see, my tail is kind of starting to work underneath the yarn, okay? So double crochet, and you're continuing to pull that tail into your work. And it's okay if you kind of tug on it just a little bit, but you don't want to tug it too tight because it will make your hole a little bit smaller. So I will meet you back at the end of this round, and this first chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So once you've popped 15 more, you'll have a total of 16 double crochets in your circle. Okay, so I'm on that last 15th one. It should be looking like this. There's a little hole kind of in the middle, and all of my tail is completely covered. So you're just going to pop that last double crochet in. And before I get to that, I'm going to take my hook out and I'm going to show you a couple things. So right here, you can see that this is the tail that you worked into your work. So it'll be kind of back here, and you can clip that because you've worked it and weaved it into your work. So when you wash it, it shouldn't come undone. But what you can do is give it a little bit of a tug, and it makes that hole just a little bit smaller, which is really nice. And then you can clip that because you've worked it into your work. So another thing to pay attention to is when you're counting, right? So like I said before, you're going to be counting this first chain 3 as 1. So I like to think of it, instead of counting the top, especially with black, is count the posts. So you're going to count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then my last one. Oh. Okay, and then to close your hole, because it kind of looks like someone took a bite out of a pie here, you're gonna find that third chain from your chain 3. So there's 1, and then 2, and then 3. And then you're gonna pop a slip stitch in there. So put your pull through, and then pull all the way through. Perfect. I'm gonna take my hook out, and then obviously this isn't a project, but it's the start of something that you can start making in the rounds. And this is just one way, because some people like to do the magic ring. Some people like to do it with the slip stitch circle. I prefer the slip stitch circle over the magic ring, but that's just preference for me. And here you go. Now I'm going to teach you the magic ring. So for this, with being left-handed, it's going to be a little bit different than the right-handed videos that you watch. So you're going to take the tail, and what I like to do is I like to wrap it just kind of around my 2 fingers here, and then I cross it over, and I grab onto it with my pinky in the back. So you have these 2 what looks like straight loops in the back, and then you have it crossed over here in the front. Okay, I'll show you that again. So you're going to take the tail, the shorter end, place that over your 2 fingers. You're going to wrap it around, make an X, and you're going to put it through the back, and you're going to pinch it here. And then this is what you'll have. That's what it will look like in the back. Okay, one more time. Here, hold on to with your thumb, wrap around, wrap one more time, and then pinch it with your pinky down here. Then you take your hook, and to get the magic ring, what you're going to do is you're going to go through this first hook, and you're going to grab onto the second loop and do that, okay? And then at this point, you have your working yarn right here. You can kind of let go and you have this ring, right? So you're not gonna wanna mess this ring up at this point. And for this one, I'm gonna have you chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And I didn't really do much with the ring while I did that. I just kind of let it hang, but I don't want to pull on anything at this point. So you're going to have this tail that you're going to want to work into your yarn. It's going to look a little funny at first. This one always looks really interesting when you first start it. And so it can almost look like you're not doing it the correct way. But what you're going to do, again, like with the slip stitch where you worked in that end, you're going to do double crochets. So double crochet into that. You're going to pop 15 in there. That first one, chain 3, being a double crochet. And in the UK, it's known as a treble. But here it's a double crochet. Okay, so you can kind of see that I'm working this, but it looks kind of funny, right? But you can see that I have my tail in the yarn again, like I have it inside of that shell right here, this little post. So you're going to continue to work that tail in, but the difference between the slip and the magic ring is you don't want to completely cover up and weave in that tail. So make sure that by the end you have enough. That's why you want your tail to be just a little bit longer. You're just going to keep working in that double crochet. And sometimes it can get a little tangled, so you want to just realign it with your hands. Double crochet. Okay. And again, like I said, it almost looks a little funky, so it can be kind of discouraging at first, but you're doing it correctly, even if it looks a little strange. That's how most projects look when you first start out. You're like, what is this going to be? But we're going to keep working in. Weaving in that tail. We're weaving it in. And then I'll meet you back for the last couple stitches. Okay, so I'm on my last 2 stitches and the tail is getting a little bit shorter, and this may look kind of big right now, and it will for just right now. So something I kind of like to do when I'm doing this is push my work down. So you just kind of push it a little bit. You don't have to push it that much, but you can push it and adjust it to give yourself more room if you're running out of space. So I only have 2 more double crochets that I have to work into this round. So it's not, I don't need that much space, but it's just something I wanted to tell you that you could do as kind of a trick, especially if you're getting a little confused on why your circle is looking a certain way. So that's that last 16th double crochet. And then I'm going to take my hook out, and I always like to give myself just a little bit more room, and sometimes you can put a stitch marker in your tail so it doesn't go anywhere, and I'll show that in a later video. But for now, I'm just going to take my hook out but give myself enough of a loop so it doesn't come undone. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take this tail that you've been weaving in the whole time, okay? And you're going to pull on the tail, and what you're going to see is going to happen, if I can get this a little closer, is it's closing up the hole. right? You see that? It's kind of cool. So, I mean, I understand why it's called a magic ring, because it looks like it's like magic when it's doing this. And it's really easy to like undo when you're done. Like you don't, you know, like if you made a mistake, same with the slip stitch one, but if you made a mistake, you can really easily undo this one. So I'm just gonna put my yarn back on my hook, and I'm gonna pop a slip stitch in to close it up. And I didn't pull this all the way tight. I just pulled it a little bit until it's like really close to being fully closed. There's barely a little hole. You can't really see it. But I'm gonna pop a slip stitch into that top third of that first post. Do a slip stitch. And then there is my work. And then at this point, once you get your first chain into, or your first stitch into your next shell, is you can pull it all the way tight so it's completely closed. And then if you ever notice that thing kind of coming loose a little bit, and kind of keep pulling it tight. And when you're done with your work, you can trim that end off and you'll be done. Thank you so much for joining me today on the slip stitch circle and the magic ring circle to start working in the rounds. I am Left-Handed Crochet Lady. My name is Rachel. Bye.